What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cracker Hunters. I'm Carolina Hitman.
I'm Anubis.
And today we're going to be talking about, which I reviewed this a while, I think a few months ago. It's been a while. But
Dude, you reviewed it when you got it. That was like a year or two ago.
I don't think it was that, wasn't that long ago. But me and Anubis did review this, and I was boring in my original videos. I'll admit that. I was boring. It's a lot better when you have somebody have a repertoire with. They were boring. But I figured, you know what? Let's talk about something that me and him have not talked about yet. And
actually, in a while, we haven't talked about Xenos in a while.
Right. And I figured, what better piece than this is the life-size Alien Warrior bust from Coolprops,
which is actually made from the original mold that they used for the Xeno makeup.
So this is the most accurate life-size bust that you can get as far as screen accuracy.
It's made from the exact same mold that they used to make the heads.
Right.
Aliens.
So if you want movie accuracy in your statues, this is it.
Well, I tell you what, man, fucking Geiger knows how to do this shit.
He does, man. He's one of my favorite creators of weird shit.
Dude, he's got some weird industrial looks going through here, man. I love it.
But one of the things, I almost forgot our actual way we do this.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna do, you know how we do this. If you watch our videos.
First, always is like we do a review. It's the base, the pose, the sculpt, and / portrait.
Yes.
Then the color, paint application.
Yes, and then overall. All right. So you know how we do things. So let's get this thing started off with the base. This is a pretty straightforward base. This isn't gonna be much to talk about.
That's basically what you get, man.
Basically, all of this is something to hold the predator up. Which, like I said, it's Xeno. I'm sorry, Xeno. Thank you. Which I think they do a decent job in creating something that's minimal, but yet efficient.
And it still looks pretty elegant.
Yeah, it does.
I think it does.
And that's one of the things. It doesn't take away from the actual Xeno itself.
But honestly, what else are they going to do?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, to hold up something like this. Because this is a pretty big. This is about what, 2.5 feet across.
Well, it's life size. So.
Yeah. So it's about 2 or 3 feet across.
Now imagine this son of a bitch looking at you.
Man, this is that. And you know that's
and he would be looking down at you.
Exactly. And this actually gives you a reference. When you see movies, it doesn't look as big.
Right.
And when you see it up close like this, it gives you a point of reference to see just how big and terrifying these fuckers are.
Yeah, look at that damn tooth. Look at these teeth, man. They're huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
All right,
anyway, the base is minimal, so we'll just that one.
Is there a pose?
Yeah, there's not even a pose.
No.
Yeah, so we'll skip that part too. So this one has to be a little different because it's a life-size bust. So we'll skip the pose part and we'll go on to I'm gonna go to the paint application because there's really not much of a portrait at all in this one as well.
Actually, I don't know, dude. That's kind of like the perfect kind of portrait that you would expect from a Xeno.
Well, yeah, but the normal portraits that we have are actual portraits of someone's face. This one's a little different, so we'll just.
Oh yeah, because it's like a movie monster.
Yeah, we'll do the sculpt. We'll do the sculpt first.
All right, yeah, let's do the sculpt.
So the sculpt. All right. Now, considering that this is the most screen accurate version of a Xeno that we've had as far as a statue, that is good. Now, one thing I am a little critical on is the paint. I mean, the whatever they use to actually make the actual statue, it's put on a little thick in some places, and I don't like his spikes right here.
It seems like they should be sharper.
It just looks like it's the paint or whatever they use to create that, the paint, but whatever mold they use to create it, it's a little thick. And it's not as defined as I would have liked, especially the further you get back.
Now remember, the mold is the one from the movie.
That's true, but you see how good they look.
Yeah, but I mean, anything can happen with movie magic.
Right, and plus, you use something over and over, yes, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Yeah, the movie's so dark, you really can't, it's like, we see all these Xeno statues and stuff, and you see the outline of the skull underneath the face right here.
Right.
But
well, not on these. Not on these.
Not on these.
Not on the boards.
But I'm just saying, you don't really see that in the movie either, unless you're getting like 4K kind of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And hell, even then, it's still hard to see.
I still, even though it's taken from the mold, I'm torn because I would like screen accuracy, which this gives me, but at the same time, it just looks a little sloppy on the top.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But you know what doesn't look sloppy? The face.
No, the face itself, which I hope all of you can see it. And I hope it's not too blurry or anything when you're looking at it.
Well, I mean, you got like these teeth, and you got all these little tendons and stuff. And I mean, I feel like it's almost perfect.
No, like I said, the screen accuracy is amazing. Like I can't even complain about that because this was used. I mean, this was made from the original mold from Aliens.
Yeah.
So I can't complain about anything, like too much about anything that the sculpt is because
it's made from the actual
Yeah,
mold.
exactly. So I can't really complain too much about that.
But the thing,
And they made it glossy, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, which we'll go through the paint application for that.
But the fun part is really the focal point is his face. It's not really the side or the ridges or the hoses. It's
which these are good too.
His face, yeah. Even the hoses and stuff are molded great. And I just think that the face is really the focal point on how well they did this because you can see the little second mouth coming out,
right?
And the teeth, they're molded properly.
Yeah, they're molded very well. Like I'll admit that they're molded very well. That it's not like unlike that other
Big Chap.
Yeah, Big Chap where around the teeth they threw the paint on too thick.
Yeah,
and it just ruined. It just ruined. Like I love the bust because of the skull. And they did that right, but the teeth almost ruined the entire statue.
Right.
It almost ruins the entire thing.
And you notice the skull in the Big Chap is the exact same as this, too.
No. Well, yeah.
On the inside.
Right, on the inside, right.
On the inside, underneath the smooth
the dome,
head.
yeah.
Because the Big Chap's a stalker type alien.
Right.
Rather than...
This is the warrior.
Is a warrior.
Right. And they did an amazing job on the sculpt itself. Like, I can't even complain about it. Like I said, I think the top part is the only negative, and that's because... we gotta remember that movie came out like 30 years, like 25, 30 years ago.
It was like what,
so the
81?
molds, 82 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so that's 38 years ago.
Was it 82? No, not 82. 79, I think 87. 87 is when, 87 or 88.
86.
No, 80, was it
86? Well, one of them.
One of them, yeah. It was either 86 or 87 when this came out. So that was 86.
32 years ago.
Yeah, so I can't really complain about this because things deteriorate over time.
Right.
And that was 30 years ago. And the fact that they even had the original molds for that still around to where they can make a cast for this is still amazing in itself.
Yeah.
So I can't complain too much about it. But that's my only negative about the actual sculpt of it is
it seems like they should keep that mold though, because considering it's one of the greatest movie monsters ever made.
True, but at the time they didn't know that. We consider that
they knew enough to make the sequel.
But no. Remember, this is the sequel.
I know. That's why.
But that was a different mold. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So they didn't know that this was going to be considered one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time at the time.
Well, James Cameron should have known.
Fair enough, because he is an awesome director in his early years. But
I don't know. Some of his movies are still pretty awesome.
They are. Oh yeah, I know.
All of his movies are awesome.
So you're including Titanic in that?
Dude, I thought that was the funniest goddamn movie I've ever seen in my life.
But so
I'll never let go, Jack. Get the fuck off me.
No, that's what I'd be like. Get off me! I'm trying to survive. But so I can't complain about the sculpt too much because, like I say, it's taken from the original molds. So
from one of our favorite movies of all time.
No, it's not one of my favorite. It's one of the greatest movies of all time, and that's not even up for debate. It's easily one of the top five sci-fi movies of all time. And that's not up for debate.
I don't even know. It is kind of up for debate.
No, it's not.
Debate on that creature design because
No. I would say this. Now, the Warriors are still one of the greatest. The Queen, on the other hand, is the greatest movie creation as far as a creature effect, movie monster of all time.
You think so?
Easily. Like the design of that Queen is so unique. Nothing that came before it or after it has even become close to replicating
How awesome
how
she is.
awesome was, because that queen was terrifying. Like, you had these guys, and then you found out there was something bigger and fucking badder that created them. So
Honestly, though, in the first movie, it kind of set it up, because where the fuck did the eggs come from? That they
right, exactly, yeah.
You
So
know?
it was a good explanation as to what they came from.
Yeah.
But the Warriors, I still think, are a top 10 movie creature of all time as well.
Do you think the Warrior or the Stalker is better?
I think, far as the look, it's the Stalker.
Yeah.
From one.
Okay, that's what I think.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a better look. It's more sleek, and it's still terrifying. These guys were the drones. These guys were the guys you see out there.
These were the everyday Joe.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's still one of the most terrifying creatures ever created.
It's like you're looking at infantry right here, is where the Stalker is like a cavalry scout,
right.
you know.
So yeah, so I say the Sculpt, man. I would easily, I like the Sculpt, and like I said, because it's screen accurate.
Yeah.
No one, you can't complain about that.
Yeah,
that is screen accuracy.
It's as close to the movies you're gonna get, because it's made from the exact mold.
Exactly.
From the damn movie.
So you can't, you can't complain about that part of it.
Right.
Now,
and you know, there is always the movie magic that's gonna tighten things up. Tighten it up, or gloss it up and stuff like that.
Well, you remember in Aliens, a lot of the Xenos, you never saw the full effect. It was in shadows a lot of the time.
Right.
So it could have very well looked just like this.
It probably did.
It probably did. And again, movie, like you said, movie magic hit a lot of the defects that you would have seen.
That's the fun part about being, you know,
a good director and editor, by the way. That's the best thing about that. Now, on to our final thing, before the paint application. Now, this is where my complaints come from me. This is, I think the paint application is the weakest spot of this entire Xeno.
You talking about like just the color palette that they use?
Well, not even that. Not even that. I wouldn't mind so much the tan. I just think that it looks like it was haphazardly put on. You know, it wasn't for as much as this cost. I would have expected a little more detail as far as the paint application, because this was a $1,200, at least $1,200 piece to get when I bought it. And again, I love this piece because it's the most screen accurate Xeno I own. But I think the paint application could have been done a lot better, in my opinion.
I'll give you that, only up here.
Even the face, and I'm explaining to you why. Remember now, I think the teeth, I'm gonna flip it around for you. I think the teeth have too much black on it.
Okay.
I think it should have been more of a silver or metallic type paint on the teeth, because we've seen Xenos. They are a bright silver metallic look to them.
Yeah, their teeth are the only thing you see before you die.
Exactly. And I think the teeth on here, which again, not to say the paint application on the teeth was horrible, I just think that they made the wrong choice
by going so dark.
By going so dark. I think it should have been a lot, no matter how dark the Xeno, even in the movie, no matter how dark the Xeno was, those teeth are still bright silver.
Now, I do have to say, you know, I agree with you when it comes up to here, but with here in the face, I think the color palette's perfect because it shows all the little depressions and all the skin, like a lot of the tendons and stuff you see.
Well, I think that would have still been. I still think that would have been all right, even with any color palette. I think that still would have turned out good, just because of the look of the Xeno itself.
But when you go so dark, like they did in the movie, you're losing a lot of the. You're losing quite.
Even as dark as it was, you can still see that dome and that face, especially when they snarled and showed it.
I think the color palette kind of like highlights the sculpt. You know what I mean? Just on the face. Now around here it looks more like desert camo, like that you see somebody spray paint on.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the only thing I'm not a fan of. Is, don't get me wrong, I do appreciate them making it glossy.
Right.
Because that's the key thing with Xenos. They have to look wet for some reason they always look wet or glossy.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, you don't ever see Xeno without the drool.
Well, not even just. I'm talking about his body. His body always looks wet because it's an exoskeleton.
I think it's like I think it's like a serpent thing.
That I can understand it, but what I'm saying is that because it's an exoskeleton.
Yeah.
So it's all. Even if you look at most insects, most of them, not all, but they have a kind of a sheen to them with their exoskeleton. And I do appreciate them making sure they put that sheen on this. I just wish that the underlying paint could have been done a lot better, especially up here.
Right.
Especially up here, right on this area right here.
Yeah,
I just wish it would have done it better.
I get that. Now, we didn't really talk about the hoses on the side of the head paint.
Now, I do love the greens they have on the hoses on the side. Like that looks really good.
It seems kind of a little weird to throw that in this.
I do agree too. It's a weird decision, but it fits. It fits with this color. So I'm not going to complain about it too much. I do like the green.
It definitely works.
Right. I just wish,
for some reason,
for me, I just wish that the paint would have been done a lot more detailed up here, right on this side. Yeah. I mean on this area right here, because like I said, this is a $1,200 piece, and I think the paint should. Something like this should reflect the amount that you're paying for it.
Right.
It should be more detailed, in my opinion.
Personally, though, you know you're probably just paying for the sculpt and the mold.
And I'm not even denying that part. You're paying mainly for the name,
and the movie accuracy.
Right.
What you're paying for.
But still, it's still an expensive piece. And when I put that much money into it, I expect a lot more care into it.
Yeah.
To be, just. Like I said, the color should be a lot better, and it should not be. It shouldn't look as cheap as it does, because the paint looks cheap.
It does kind of, yeah.
I mean, let's just be real. The paint does look cheap on this piece.
Even though it was not a cheap statue.
No, it's not a cheap piece. But I just think the paint just looks too cheap for the amount of money and the size. And I know a lot of times, the bigger you go, the more a defect or a mistake is going to be highlighted.
Yeah, you'll see it a lot quicker.
And that's the problem with this being a life-size bust, because the paint wasn't done as good as I feel it should be. It highlights it even more for me. Don't get me wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to ask you a question. Where do you think the actor's head was? It was like
that's a good question.
Right?
I don't even know.
I think it was in here.
It probably was in the because the suits were so. Because remember, those things were pretty fucking big. So the suit. The head, the person's head.
The actor's head was right here.
Probably, I wouldn't even say the head was even in this. I think the head was probably in the suit, and the head was put on top of it.
Oh, you mean like underneath the neck, right? In
because chest. Remember now, there's a lot of mechanics when he snarls and the thing juts. His mandible juts out.
Yeah, the second.
So this was probably more of a mechanical thing, and it's like the Predator.
The animatronics.
The animatronics were probably in this, and the person was underneath
like
this,
in the chest cavity,
right, or something like that, right?
Through like his ribs,
and they probably used a lot of wires and stuff to help balance it and things like that. I'm assuming, by the way, but I don't see a place if this was a life size and accurate.
No, it is.
So I mean, yes, since it's life size and accurate,
have to be down
his head could never fit in here. So his head would have had to been somewhere underneath in the suit itself.
Yeah, I can see it.
I love talking about this shit, man. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all can see it. I love it.
All right, you want to go to the overall?
Overall, yeah.
All right.
So overall, man. Again, I do agree with Anubis in some parts, because you are mainly paying for the name and the screen accuracy of this piece.
The prop.
And
because it's actually considered a prop.
Exactly. So you're getting something that is the most screen accurate prop of a Xeno, because it was made from the original.
This is what they looked like.
Exactly. In the movie. So this was from the original molds. So that is one thing I do appreciate, because I got something screen accurate.
Right.
Like if I want to show someone, the average person, comes and look at my collection, this would be a highlighted piece, because especially if you're a fan of aliens, you get to see just how big these guys were in the movies, because you have a screen accurate piece to show them.
Yeah, it's life size. Not only that, it's molded from the actual, it's made from the mold from the movie.
Exactly.
So, I mean, honestly, you can't get any more screen accurate.
No, you can't.
Yeah, unless you actually had one of them that was in the filming.
Exactly. This is as screen accurate as you're going to get. So I do commend Coolprops for that, because they decided to make sure they tracked that down and got these screen accurate molds. I appreciate that. My only, like I said, but for me,
It could have been painted better.
it could have been painted better. That's really the only complaint I have. This mainly complaint I have about the statue. I feel it could have been painted a lot better, and it looks too cheap for the amount of money you pay for it.
You know, I get the idea that they were going behind it. It just wasn't really that well executed. You know, you're trying to show off all the depressions and the indentions,
right,
and everything in the sculpt, but it just was not executed perfectly.
Right, and
it looks better on the face.
It does,
but you see that it's kind of slacking up around the dome.
Right, and honestly, it is slacking around the dome. There's no hiding it. That's what it is.
It's these little veins.
It just looks cheaply done. I would have, if it was up to me, I would have left those vein squiggles out, because that, to me, if those were left out, I think I would feel a lot, maybe a little bit better about the paint job up on here.
Yeah.
But those little squiggly lines that looks just too cheap, that really highlights how cheaply it looks.
Yeah, those veins are capillaries or whatever.
Whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, whatever you want to call them.
I don't think they needed that, because they really didn't.
Yeah, they didn't need them.
They should have left those out, in my opinion.
So, I mean, you got all the industrial tubing
exactly,
and stuff like that to focus your attention on. But now all I can see is these
squiggly lines
veins,
that really,
whatever they are.
Right, and
it's only right here.
And for me, they should have left those out.
Yeah,
they should have just went with the beige or tan color they were going for. Let the squiggly lines out, maybe up here towards like like around the side right here, around his jaw. I'll show you right here.
Yeah.
Around here, that makes sense, and it doesn't look as bad, because it's at least on that side, it doesn't look as bad. But
I don't know, man. I kind of like the way they went with the dark teeth.
I'm not a fan of the dark teeth. I think they should have been metallic silver, plain and simple, because that's what we see in the movie. No matter how dark it was, those teeth are still a bright metallic look. And I think they made a mistake with going so dark on the teeth. I think they should have just went straight metallic. That was it. Highlight that, and that was all.
Okay.
I think they made a mistake going so dark with the teeth.
Well, I mean, I kind of dig it, but I catch what you're throwing.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So all right. So
overall, it's awesome.
Yeah, overall, I love the piece. Don't get me wrong. Even though you hear my complaints about it, it's still a good highlight piece.
Your complaints mainly are just about the paint.
Yes, that's really it.
That's really it.
Yeah, but that's all I can complain about, because how am I going to complain about something
how are you going to complain about the sculpt?
Exactly, I can't complain about that. That's how they look. That's really how they look.
And it's life size.
Exactly.
I mean, could you imagine that motherfucker looking at you, and he's looking down at you, and you're like, oh well. Life's been pretty terrible.
Right. Even though it's about to end right now.
I'm glad.
Yeah. But so all right. So far as we're gonna go to our grading system, as you all know. So in your opinion, if you bought this is what you receive, what grade would you give it?
I'm giving it an A, solid A. Because, you have a problem with the paint application. I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. I do see what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I'm not a painter, so I mean, I'm not going to really meticulously.
And I hate to say it, but that affects my judgment too.
Yeah, I know. But see, like for me, I'm going to give it a straight A because of one, really what you're buying is a movie prop. Okay, now movie magic takes away a lot of things.
It does.
You got your shadows and stuff that can hide all of this.
And I agree, and I will not deny that.
And I am a big fan of movie props just in general.
Bro, me too. I love movie props. I would love to own more of them.
That's what I'm saying. I would almost give it a super awesome S. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the paint does kind of look kind of weak.
Okay.
And that's why it's getting a straight solid A.
All right.
Because of the movie accuracy, really all I care about.
Right. For me, I have to give it a B minus. Mm. I have to give it a B minus.
Yeah, it's all because of the paint.
It's the paint, man. And for the fact that that you pay this much money, you want that you want your figure that you receive to be as perfect as possible. No, if this was a $200-$300 figure, I can't complain about that much. This is $1,200 fucking dollars. This is almost $1,500.
Yeah, but it's a movie prop.
It doesn't matter.
It's literally a movie prop.
It does not matter.
It kind of does.
I understand that, but again, you kick out that much money, it should be as perfect as possible. And I'm not complaining. Like I said, I'm not even knocking it for the ridges up here because again, it was made from the original molds. This is probably how it looks.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you can't complain about the sculpt. The only thing you really can complain about is the paint application.
But that's a big thing because
no, I mean, I agree.
I mean, that's for me. I can't give it an A or better because that paint looks cheap. Okay. I'm just sorry. The paint looks cheap. I'm saying it. I can't deny that. It looks cheap. And for $1,200 bucks plus shipping, it should be better. As perfect. Yeah, better. I can never ask for perfection because nothing can ever be perfect. But it should be better than what this is.
I'm pretty sure there's one thing that's perfect with the paint application that you own.
What's that? Oh yeah, Millavestros. That's perfect. Like that's perfection. There was not a defect on. You're gonna see. You almost gonna be talking about Millavestros. So I'm not gonna do it.
See, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Just one mission.
It really does. But like I said, I had to give it a B minus. Like I said, I love the sculpt. I still am proud to own this.
Love the sculpt,
right. I still
really have to.
Exactly. I'm proud to own this piece because I know not everybody's going to be able to own this. So I'm still proud to own it. But I just feel like it could have been a lot better. It could have been knock out the park, take your breath away better when someone walks in your room, which I still think this will do if the average person isn't really going to care about the paint. They're just going to see an awesome Xeno replica, and that's what they're going to notice.
I don't know, but then again, the average person who's seen all the movies is going to be like,
why is it brown?
Where the hell did that come from?
Right. I couldn't get the blue one, by the way. There was a blue version, but remember now, the blue is more of lighting in the movie. It was. Right. I mean, that's.
But I'm just saying, the average person, where the hell did this tan come from?
But I don't even think they would care about the tan. I just think that they would care about seeing a life-size Xeno on your mantle when they walk in. I think it's an.
Well, they'll ask you, is that life size?
Right, it's an attention grabber. Don't get me wrong. Really, I just think that it should be better.
Especially that face, man.
Right, I just think
that's a face only a mother could love.
I don't even know. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, I don't even think the Queen likes them.
So I just have to give it a B minus. Everybody, I may be a little harsh, but I'm sorry. I've got so many statues.
It's all the paint.
It is.
It is because I mean I'm giving it a straight A. That's because I just think movie props are fucking cool.
Right, they are, and I think this is I love the movie prop aspect of this.
Yeah, just not as much as if it would have had a better paint.
Yeah, job. Exactly.
If it had a better paint job, it would.
Oh man, I'd have even got this probably an S.
Yeah,
that wouldn't even been a question.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed us talking about this awesome piece. Like I said, again, I still think it's an awesome piece. Think it could have been done better. But I hope you enjoyed us talking about this. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to get notified of our future videos. I'm Carolina Hitman.
I am Anubis.
See y'all next time. Peace.